Job's suffering, worship, satisfaction. If you are walking in darkness, without a ray of light, trust in the Lord and rely on your God. I've been spending some time of late in the book of Job. Briefly, this book is one of the wisdom books of the Bible. The book examines one of life's most difficult mysteries, that of the why of suffering. The central human figure of this book is Job, a man who is a believer in God, a man who has been mightily blessed by God. Job has been gifted with 7 sons and 3 daughters, great herds of sheep, camels, oxen, and donkeys. He is a man of great wealth and influence, having many servants. He knows that all he has is from God. In chapter 1, we are given a glimpse into the unseen realm of the Spirit. Satan has come before God, and the sovereign God of all the universe permits this fallen angel to test God's faithful servant Job. As the account unfolds, Satan is permitted by God to devastate everything that Job possesses. In a single day, Job loses his children, his herds, as well as his reputation and most of his servants. On another day, Satan is permitted to strike Job's health, but not to take his life. Job, amidst the ruins of his former wealth and prominence, cries out to God in an attitude of worship that only faith in God could produce. Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. As the story continues to unfold, 3 of Job's friends come to console him. They end up spending much of their time trying to understand why this has happened to their friend. Finally, they challenge his honesty and his integrity and accuse him of hidden sin in an attempt to have him own up to the reason why God Almighty has allowed this faithful servant to suffer so. Job maintains his innocence, and there is no answer forthcoming. God himself is silent on the matter of Job's suffering, offering no explanation whatsoever. Instead, the Lord reveals to Job who he is. As Job cries out to God in prayer, protesting his innocence, he is so utterly overwhelmed by God's self-revelation in creation that he falls upon his face once again in worship, acknowledging that he knows nothing and that he is but dust and ashes. Often we are mystified by suffering, and we all endure suffering at some point in our lives, even for seasons. Why? Sometimes we are given understanding, but God owes us no explanation. What is required of us in the midst of blessing and of suffering is trust faith in God who is good all the time. At the end of the account of Job's story, we find something astounding. God never told Job the why of his ordeal, yet Job was satisfied with what God revealed to him of himself. And the Lord restored Job's fortunes with twice as much as he had before. In Philippians 3:10b, Paul says that he desires to share in the fellowship of Christ's sufferings. Is that sufficient for us, or do we require an explanation for everything that we endure in our walk with Jesus? Job was satisfied in knowing his Redeemer in a more intimate way at the end of his ordeal. It must be sufficient for us as well. Trust God.